So today's topic, we're going to address the issue of the gentleman that goes by White Chocolate, who was recently on a roundtable in Britain that was addressing the issues of Black Lives Matter. I thought it was only appropriate to invite someone who is in the entertainment industry, who's a performer, and she goes by the name of Karian Forde. Karian, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Sure, no problem, of course.
I am really thankful that you're here so we can discuss this and how we could move forward as a Caribbean people regarding this paving the way and how we could learn from maybe not glorifying every foreigner that comes to our shores. And so let's begin. People should know the topic by now because it was trending, but basically, in a nutshell, they started off by speaking about George Floyd being murdered in the States and how this movement basically kind of stimulated movements around the world, and also speaking about religion and other topics around race and privilege.
Yeah.
And then the topic was asked of White Chocolate about what he brings to the Black community. Well, we all know the rest is history. He said that he was of the opinion that he's paved the way for Black people.
Yeah.
So I wanted to hear from you, someone, as I said, who's been in the arts and entertainment industry, your thoughts on White Chocolate. First of all, being from Britain and representing St. Lucia, which was a surprise to me. And yeah, you could take it from here.
Right. Well, just to kind of give context of where I'm speaking from, I am a performer. I would say mostly dancer, actor, performing with Three Canal every year, every Carnival season. And I do have a Master of Arts in Carnival Studies from the University of Trinidad and Tobago. With that being said, I never heard about Mr. White Chocolate before today. As you said, him being British but representing St. Lucia, I'm sure St. Lucians just cringed knowing that they don't think he represents them. But right, so for him, so we're going with the context of him claiming St. Lucia, not necessarily him representing St. Lucia. I think as a Caribbean community, we are so ready to embrace people into our culture and have them experience Carnival. That in this particular instance, it went too far with him experiencing Carnival enough times and then being offered this platform, because he was offered a platform. He didn't come in and say, like, I don't think he came in with his own team and said, this is what I'm going to do. He was offered it, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware. So that is unfortunate.
Right. You did studies in Carnival and so forth.
What is it about White Chocolate and other foreigners of Caucasian descent that appeals to us in the Caribbean?
I don't want to get in trouble for saying this, but I feel like we are so ingrained with a colonial mindset that anything outside of our experience, especially from the North American countries and the European countries, those kind of New World imperial countries is what I'll call them. I think we kind of look to them for validation because we see them as this epitome of the standard of living. So just because the majority of their population is white, I think that's where we kind of looked, dogs. I think we kind of look towards them for this kind of validation. And when they appreciate our culture and when they sign off on our culture and say, wow, this is good, then we kind of say, yeah, it's good because they say it's good.
Right. So, of course, we saw on Twitter and we saw on social media, a lot of dialogue was framed around Caribbean women made him what he is. That for him to feel this empowerment that he has paved the way.
Yeah.
Would you agree or disagree with that statement?
I would disagree, just because I feel like that statement is being made by the men who are now trying to kind of backslide and find somebody to blame for this.
Right.
I think Caribbean women did encourage him and would be his main fan base. And there's nothing wrong, I think, with being his fan.
Right.
But we didn't pave the way for him to be an influencer here. I think that blame would have to lie with the people who are paying him and the entities that are paying for him to fly in, who are giving him room and board, who is giving him money, who's giving him costumes to wear. These are the people who are his benefactors, not Black women or Caribbean women.
Right. Right. Okay. I think the next thing that came out of this was the fact that he had an opportunity in the interview to explain what he meant when he said pave the way for Black people. That's Black people is what he said.
Yeah, because he didn't say Caribbean.
He didn't say Caribbean. He said Black people. And I feel like one of the other panelists, I mean, there was obviously a kind of, the rest of the panelists were very shocked that he actually said that.
Yeah.
And I think he realized and decided, let me try and backtrack. But it was already too late. He said what he said. But he was given an opportunity after the little dialogue in between by the other young lady who was next to him, who said, please continue. And then he said, oh, I lost my train of thought. I mean, do you think there was any way for him to come back from a statement like that?
I think, you see, the thing is, the truth always kind of comes out, especially when you're being put on the spot like that.
Right.
There was a point in the interview I want to acknowledge. He said that he felt kind of out of his depth around that table. Right. And that's very telling that, just in a discussion about Black Lives Matter, the fact that they brought him to the table in the first place is a concern, because he's saying that the other people at the table have this knowledge of the history and like they already have the knowledge of awareness, and he's learning so much from them by just sitting there. So why was he at the table? Why was his opinion called for? But going back to what you said, him having time to take back what he said, I don't think he even realized in the moment what a major statement he made because of his privilege.
Right.
And actually one of the guys on the table said, what did he say? Something about your privilege, you don't know your privilege while you have it, or something like that. And it was true, because it was right there. He has a certain privilege that he, being a white male, and I guess he didn't realize, or he didn't realize that he was using his privilege so much that he felt comfortable enough to say in front of a camera that he and what he's doing for Caribbean culture is this kind of mind-blowing, innovative step. I don't know. I just felt like you have to be really, really out of touch with your place in society, especially Caribbean society, to come out and say, I'm making things greater by just being here. Right. By my presence.
Right. Yeah. I think what disappointed me is the fact that I was kind of discussing with you earlier, that this was an interview. He obviously should have known that the topic is Black Lives Matter. So I'm assuming that he was invited and he accepted the invitation. And to me, to know that for example, when I reached out to you to speak on this, I didn't just drop it on you. I said, do your read and do your research, watch what you have to watch. It's not to say that this was today for tomorrow kind of thing. In terms of him, he to me should have prepared himself, knowing that a topic that has had so much outreach, I would say, for the entire world this year. And a lot of people, I guess, on social media think that this Black Lives Matter thing is a now come thing. And if people actually do the history, they realize this evolved from the killing of Trayvon Martin in 2014, and it grew from there. But this particular year, it just catapulted after the George Floyd killing on TV, on media, on video. So I think that is really what pushed the Black Lives Matter movement forward this year. And I just feel I'm disappointed in him that to know that he was invited to something like this and he didn't do his adequate research.
Yeah, and I think that sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, and I feel as though him being there, like he wanted to show how he's an ally to the Black community, or how he's giving back, but whining is not really giving back. How is that exactly helping us?
Yeah, and again, I think it comes back to the privilege again. I think he thinks that by using his platform to showcase, like, look at this culture that I am a part of, that I was embraced by. We could all live together in harmony if we just I think that's where he was kind of going with it.
Right.
But I don't think it's enough. Coming to Carnival, coming to the Caribbean for Carnival and whining on top of Bashan does not make you immersed in our culture enough, I think, to speak on something as deep as Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, and I think what was most mind-blowing to me is, well, you said you didn't know of him before today.
No.
I saw him on videos viral, maybe I would say over the last 2 years. And the first time I saw him with the St. Lucian flag in Notting Hill Carnival whining, and I was like, okay, St. Lucia white boy, show them what you got. And I'm just there happy for St. Lucia, right?
Yeah.
I felt gutted, and I don't know why, that to know that he's not from St. Lucia, he's just using their area code, he's just using their flag.
Because he's a fraud.
Yeah.
It will hurt. Because, from being from the Caribbean, we have these kind of inter-island rabs all the time, especially on social media. We'll kind of pick at each other.
Yeah.
But from the time something is international, we all come together. It could be as something as silly as World Cup of flags on Twitter, or an actual World Cup game in like a FIFA World Cup game. We'll all come together to support that one Caribbean person or that one Caribbean team.
Yeah.
So to find out that he was a fraud would really hurt us, even though he's not from Trinidad, or like it just.
I think what I had asked you earlier, and I'm going to ask you on record now.
Yeah.
If he was from the Caribbean, do you think the statement would have still gotten the backlash?
Because his statement was that he is paid. Well, I know he retracted some of it, so I don't want to misquote him. But
essentially,
he said that he's paving the way for Black influencers to come after him, or Black dancers to come after him with whining.
Right, and make it a profession, he said.
Right. Oh, yes.
Oh. To make, right.
As a dancer, that offends me so much, because I'm like, what? But yeah, if he was from the Caribbean, him being a white man, because we do have them in the Caribbean, it would still hit. That's a kind of insensitive statement for him to make. I don't think he can stand on his own merit and say he's paving the way for any Black person in the Caribbean to come and do anything after him once it has to do with Carnival, because Carnival is something that's rooted in rebellion and revolt of Black people. So
exactly,
I don't think there's any way, I'm sorry, for him to say or make a claim on any aspect of Carnival, be it whining or whatever.
I think the reason I reached out to you, Karian, I think every time he spoke about making dance or whining or whatever a profession, I'm like, has he not met Marsha Montano dancers? Has he not met Karian Forde? Has he not met
me? Me?
I'm like, who are you? Where did you come from? You seriously?
Being a part of a dance company that makes it our business to perform every carnival season, I perform with El Infinity Dance Company, and every carnival we are heavily invested in performing with different artists, especially artists like Marshall. So for him to say he is bringing this awareness to whining and making it a profession, we've been doing that though. So I honestly mentioned it to you before. I think his words, maybe it's partly privilege again, and it was just him projecting outwards what he meant to internalize.
Right.
By him saying he is branding and making this influence and bringing this awareness to Carnival, no, I think it's the other way around, and it works even with locals. Carnival brings that to you. Yes. Carnival, experiencing Carnival like that makes you different. And I think that's where he should have gone with what he was saying.
Right. You were saying Carnival made him.
Yeah. Carnival made him a brand.
Right. Yeah. He did not pave the way for anybody. Carnival and Caribbean Carnival in particular, because I think we could speak about Notting Hill and Toronto or whatever, but it is innate, I think, to the Caribbean, this carnival that we so celebrate every year,
Yeah. And I just think it's amazing that he felt confident enough to think that he was influencing us when we were the ones influencing him.
Yeah. Okay. As you said, I think it really goes back to that privilege, white privilege. Yeah. And I think it's unfortunate that he's so tone deaf about it. I mean, yes, okay. I feel as though he probably thinks that he is giving St. Lucia credit, right? By using their flag every time he goes out, or putting 758 by his name. But I really want to know, what else does he do to help, the Caribbean community or St. Lucia, It is, he went to St. Lucia for an internship, he says, for 2 years. He said he didn't know how to dance before. Obviously, they decided to teach him to whine. He learned how to whine, and the rest is history.
Okay. So, I didn't even know that much of his history.
No, I'm telling you, I once I found out he was not from St. Lucia, I'm like, who the heck is this from? Who have I been looking at all this time?
Who is this liar? This and I feel like there's one thing to say, you're appreciating the culture of St. Lucia, and you so identify with the island that you want to say you're representing them, but he flat out lied. Like, I saw a clip where Shansia asked him where he's from.
Where you from? Dennery.
And he put on an accent to say
Dennery.
I was like, nah, man, you're lying. That's when you're lying. I know you get catch.
So I think somebody had asked me, but if he was living there. But my answer to that is, Karian, I lived in Belize for 2 years when I did my master's, and Belize became a part of me. It became my second home, right? I even chose to get married there because I love the place. I fell in love with the culture. But I wouldn't put God out of my thoughts. And
I'm a believer.
I would put God out of my thoughts and say, okay, let's say, for example, one of the popular music genres there is called punta, which is known in Honduras and Belize, and it came from the Garafunas. Imagine I fell in love with that music. I mean, I like it, right? And let's say I fell in love with it, and I decided I'm going to sing punta music, and I just going to claim it like mine. I'm going to, without even giving a little background into it. I mean, I guess it's not the same when it comes to whining, but I'm sure there's so much more he can do than just say, oh, well, I whine. And the girl with the braids on the panelist was like, okay, you just whine? What does that help? How does that help?
She was so savage. I mean, she really, I feel like she just kind of was confused, because as we all are, you hearing, okay, I whine. I go to Carnival and I whine. And then what?
And then what?
And what else? What do you do to uplift the Black community? What do you do to bring anything to the table?
Yeah.
And
And this
At
is
this
why
point, he just eats enough food at the table.
yeah, at this point, and I as I said, I don't know what his purpose was being on that round table. If it is that you were invited to speak on the topic of Black Lives Matter, which, as I said, it's such a volatile topic this year, at least be informed.
Yeah.
You know, at least see if, you know, I don't know. I think one of the tweets I read on Twitter was apparently they were St. Lucians and other Caribbean guys, but particularly St. Lucian men were saying, you know, when we about, oh, y'all are making a big deal out of nothing. You're always saying how we were jealous and oh, we envious and we don't like to support people or whatever. And he said, y'all even went as far as saying that you wanted to give him a passport. And, you know, I was like, yikes. I didn't know it went that far, you know.
Yeah.
I think he was even invited to speak at a school. And yeah. And
see, this is where it goes too far.
Yeah.
This is what drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're seeing this outsider and you wanna share our culture with them, that's fine. You're seeing them really embracing it and you're excited about it, that's fine. From the time you put them on a level above people who are not only working hard from the ground in your own country, you just take this outside and you disregard the experience of your native people. That is where the hurt comes in.
Yeah.
So you have somebody like him coming in to speak at a school. I mean, I can't speak for St. Lucia, but I'm sure there are dancers in St. Lucia who maybe want to start schools or have schools that were never spoken to before about that kind of thing. You have people who probably I'm trying to remember if this girl is from St. Lucia, but there are people who came to UTT to do performing arts degrees.
Okay.
I'm really trying to remember if he's from St. Lucia. But you had to leave St. Lucia to come to Trinidad to get this performing arts degree and go back. So that means you're investing in yourself, money-wise, because it wasn't free. And then you're going back to your country to impart the knowledge that you received here. Why is it now that you're given the opportunity to speak to this person who, as evidenced by the round table, has nothing to say?
Has nothing to say, has no Caribbean roots, no Caribbean heritage, no nothing to tie him to the Caribbean except for the fact that he came on an internship for 2 years.
That really, yeah.
It hurts. I feel as though if I were to do that, as I said with the Belizeans, I still feel as though, first of all, I can't do it because I know I cannot just claim something as my own. You know, I have to be able to give the credit where credit is due. I mean,
I think we learn as Caribbean people very quickly to know our place, and that is part of knowing your place.
Yeah, I feel that's what it is. It's a different upbringing altogether.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's the problem. Maybe we feel like we won't advocate for ourselves enough to reach out to the school. So maybe I could reach out to a school and say, hey, I'd like to come and speak about Carnival stuff.
Right.
Rather than just sit and wait on the invitation, because he got an invitation at the end of the day. Yeah. Again, people are handing it to him on a platter.
On a platter. And I think that was the issue that was raised, was that apparently the same person who spoke said, you know, there were other people from St. Lucia that you could have invited to speak to children, but you chose him. And you were upset and say, oh, y'all are jealous of him and stuff. But I was saying, why can't we promote our own, you know?
Yeah.
It's been an interesting 48 hours.
I wonder what he's thinking, because since the whole thing blew up, all he's put out is the pseudo apology. Yeah. And he spoke about, you know, them editing the longer YouTube video is still edited, and then the short Twitter clips are taken out of context. But I'm just wondering what he's thinking to the responses, because I've seen some really harsh responses. I feel normally like we were talking about how I ready my pitchfork quite easily. And I
Right.
love to march and speak against any kind of injustices like this. But this time I didn't really feel that passionate about it to go and attack him. But I've seen some really harsh criticisms of him in his comments and stuff. And I'm just wondering what he's thinking reading it.
But what I want to ask, now that you said that, why do you think you didn't feel the passion to go and attack him? Is it because you didn't know of him? Or is it that you were like,
It's two things.
Okay, go ahead.
Two things, I think. One, I didn't know him. When I said I didn't know him, I did see him on the road. I remember now, just from watching his videos back, I was like, yeah, I did see you whining on that bus shit.
Right.
But in my head, I was just thinking, St. Lucian guy whining on a bus shit. That's fine.
Right.
The other thing I think is that I am tired. I'm completely drained of this kind of thing happening.
Yeah.
This phenomena of, so even locally, we have a phenomena of white and even just high color, let's call them influencers for now.
Right.
Speaking with the authority,
right,
that we really just don't know where they get it from. And I think I'm just kind of tired of that. I'm tired of seeing this mindset of, oh, we're outraged again as a white person doing something that, oh, you know what it is? It's the cultural appropriation discussion, I guess. I kind of felt like it was going towards that. And it is cultural appropriation for him to say he's paving this way in a carnival setting. Mm-hmm. And I'm tired of the arguments. I'm tired of not the conversation. I'm tired of the outrage of it, because I feel like nobody's learning anything from it.
Right.
I'm all for the conversation if you want to learn from it, but just being angry for angry's sake is not doing anything.
And how do you think we move forward from this as a Caribbean people?
How do we move forward from it?
Yeah. You said that you're upset, or not upset. You're tired of the outrage, and we get upset, but nothing comes out of it. What do you think would be your ideal solution, or what can we learn from this?
I feel like you have to address something before you can move past it. And what we're not doing is addressing it. Being outraged by it, to me, is not addressing it. Like, there are some people who are learning from it and recognizing their own biases in certain situations. Like, okay, for this particular white chocolate situation, okay, he's receiving backlash now, and he's put out his apology.
Right.
Is he going to be in our next carnival? Whatever is the next carnival, is he going to be there making money, doing exactly what he's doing now? Then he's learned nothing, and the promoters who are paying him have learned nothing, and we just made that whole uproar and hoopla for nothing. Is he now going to learn from this and speak on it and share what he's learned, or
try to learn?
Just try to learn in general. And yes, he could learn in private, but I think because he's an influencer and he wants to use his platform, he has to come out publicly and show what he's learned and show where he's going to grow from this. And like they ask him at the round table, what are you bringing to the table? What are you going to do now? So now that you've been profiting on this lifestyle for how many of years? 2 years, I think you said?
Well, 2 years that I know of. I don't know. I went on his IG today. I think he's had pictures since 2017. So
okay. So now that you've been living this lifestyle, jet setting to every carnival here and everywhere, next year, what are you going to do? Is it going to be more of the same, or are you going to, I don't know what he wants to do, but he should have some kind of plan in place to show that he's grown and to give back to whatever communities he's going into.
I agree. The only thing I appreciated from this entire outrage was the fact that Caribbean people, as you said, we have our little banter amongst each other throughout the year, but it's like him making that statement, it was every Caribbean person
You
was
see,
like,
when we
no,
drag
you don't.
together, when we come together to give a
Yeah.
good drag,
Yeah,
it's amazing what we could do.
yeah. But
I tell
he
you, I
needed to
honestly
be
kind of felt
schooled.
sorry for him. Yeah, I felt a little sorry for him just because of like the depth of the drag. I was like, wow. I would feel sick, absolutely
Yeah,
sick, if the
yeah,
entire Caribbean came for me the way they came for him.
yeah.
I hope he's
But as I
strong.
said, he should have prepared himself for that interview, knowing
Yeah,
you're going on a Black Lives Matter interview, knowing
yeah.
that you have a very strong,
Black community base.
especially in the Caribbean, at
Yeah.
least, say something that will uplift us. Don't make yourself sound like you are the messiah of whining and you have paved the way for Caribbean people or
And
Black
that's
people.
the thing. If it was that he was this prodigy, like
Yeah,
you look at him and you're just amazed by what he can do.
yeah,
By all means,
yeah.
yeah. But
Right. But
it's
it's
become it
basic
no. Mm-mm.
basic
It
wine,
was
right?
it was way too basic. I was like, no, 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 no.
This is probably why he has not been under your radar. You're like, oh, okay.
I mean,
This is what you can do. Okay, cool.
I'm not saying I am not saying that I could do any better. Like, I mean, I feel like I could do better. But I'm not putting myself on that platform. I'm not
Yeah,
putting myself out there as any big whiner girl.
yeah,
But I mean, like for me, the first thing I thought of when he said that he is an influencer and that he's a whiner, I instantly thought of Inhale Me, because she's branded herself as this whining queen, and she markets herself. She travels just like he does to
yeah.
different countries and carnivals, and will perform and teach workshops and stuff. And that's what I thought when I thought of a whining influencer. I didn't think of one rotation.
Yeah. Wow, what a rude awakening, huh?
And I just want us to be careful going forward, because you're giving him this platform, but now you have, because I mean, I could just off the top of my head, because I'm in the industry, I
Yeah,
could list dancers who would dance circles around him, and they
yeah.
don't have that opportunity to
Right.
travel and perform like him.
Yeah,
So I'm wondering, are promoters going to bring some new faces, bring some talent to the
yeah,
table?
yeah. Well, I wish we could continue. However, we
Yeah.
have like less than 5 minutes left.
Okay.
So I want to wrap up.
Uh-huh.
Karian, can you please give me very briefly, you spoke about Caribbean Fit. Was it Soca Fit? Can
Soca
you give,
Fit. So
right.
Soca Fit is actually a cardio-based exercise program, born from the Caribbean, born from Trinidad and Tobago actually, and I used to be a coach with them. So basically, there are coaches all over the world now. They're Canada, South Africa, Martinique, you name it. We've been to the UK, France, all over. And what
Right.
I noticed is that when we have classes locally, they tend to struggle when compared to the international classes. Around Carnival time, the novelty is greater, like people are more interested. But obviously, in the diaspora, it's a lot easier to get people to come out and participate. And I think based on the whole influencer from foreign kind of thing, I was just wondering if there's a correlation between that mindset of, oh, well, we know how to wine here and stuff like that, so we don't want to go to a soca fit class. But when you go outside, people want to wine so much that they come to those kind of classes.
Right.
So, yeah. I was just
So,
kind of drawing the parallel of that foreign mindset and wine. It's so taboo for them that it's,
right.
yeah.
everyone. I want to welcome Karian Forde. She is hold on. You are a dancer.
Oh, my dog. What did I just say? Am I speaking English? Every carnival, we're heavily invested. Don't want to get in trouble. This kind
I might
of
edit it if you want me, but go ahead.
Okay. This.
Oh, damn. We only have like 2 minutes.